efforts to squelch investigation into the origins of the coronavirus. And I want to figure out what side the FBI is on. On April 28th, Dr. Li Mingyan landed at LAX. One of your agents interviewed her at that time. She then traveled to New York. Your agent from Los Angeles followed her to New York and sought an interview on both the 1st of May and the 2nd of May in 2020. The FBI took Dr. Li Mingyan's phone, on which the doctor showed evidence of WeChat communications between herself and the director of the CDC in Beijing, all the way dating back to December of 2019, regarding the Chinese military's involvement in the development of the virus and specific links to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Director Wray, when did you become aware of your agency's interface with Dr. Yang? When did you review those WeChat messages?
I'm not sure that there's much I can say about any specific investigation. I will say that a couple things. One, as I think you know, and I think the committee knows, I have been very vocal, and I intend to continue to be very vocal about the counterintelligence threat, which takes a wide variety of forms from the People's Republic of China and the Chinese Communist Party. And I think it's one of the most significant threats facing this country.
Is Dr. Yan part of that threat?
Well, again, I don't want to speak specifically about any particular investigation. But the second thing I would mention is that...
Well, here's why that's important. Yeah. On the first thing, Director Wray, back in April and May of 2020, we didn't have nearly 600,000 people dead as a result of the coronavirus. On October 14th, 2020, FBI agent Andrew Zitman brought a scientist who was working with the FBI to meet with Dr. Yan in New York on October 14th. They met for nearly 6 hours. Can you tell us anything about that meeting and what it tells us about the origins of this virus? It is simply unacceptable to sit here a year later and say you're not going to tell us whether or not there was information about the origins of the virus when it is so central to the safety and health of our fellow Americans.
I certainly understand the point of the question. Again, I have to be careful not to discuss specific investigations. I will say that in addition to our investigative work, as I think has been recently publicly stated by the DNI, and I think even the President himself, the intelligence community has been looking at this issue. There are differences of view within the intelligence community about the origins of the coronavirus.
Totally
and
understand
so forth.
all that. I'm trying to resolve those differences.
Deeper dive on that subject.
Director Wray, we are unable to hold the Chinese Communist Party accountable if we throw our hands in the air and say, well, there's differences of opinion. We have to assess whether those differences are similarly rooted in fact. That's why I need the facts from you. Will you provide to this committee any scientific analysis that the FBI has done regarding Dr. Yan's claims, regarding the messages she provided to you, regarding Beijing's knowledge of the origins of this virus, their military's involvement, and even efforts to try to present to the world a fake genome sequence at the beginning of these developments?
I'm happy to see what information we can provide. I will have my staff follow up with yours and see what information we can share on the subject.
You get that if we don't look at that rooted information, we're unable to ascertain what differences of opinion are correct and incorrect. But it's hard to believe that the FBI didn't believe Dr. Yan was credible or significant because she lands on April 28th. Your agent, Dana Murphy, takes her phone that day. I'm holding the receipt from where you got the phone that had the WeChat messages that had very important information regarding Beijing and the Chinese Communist Party. And it's not every day that an FBI agent flies from Los Angeles to New York to follow a Chinese doctor who is a whistleblower and a fact witness. And even if Dr. Yan's technical analysis of the virus is incorrect, the fact that she showed up saying that she wanted to provide information and tell the truth seems significant today. Now, back when Dr. Yan made these pronouncements regarding the Chinese Communist Party, their military involvement, the leak of this virus from the lab, we had a number of people trying to discredit her. Are you able to ascertain whether or not that effort to discredit Dr. Yan is part of the counterintelligence efforts by the Chinese Communist Party?
Again, I want to be careful both about what information we can provide in general about any kind of ongoing investigation, but also about what form that information would take, because in some cases, you may be touching on things that would be classified, and that might require a different format. So I certainly understand why you're asking the questions. let me commit to you that I will go back with my folks and see what information can be provided and what form it would have to take if we can provide any.
That would be very helpful. Mr. Chairman, may I be recognized?
Mr. Deutsch.
Oh, wait, hold on, Mr. Chairman. You let everybody else go over for a minute. May I be recognized just for unanimous consent request?
The gentleman's time has expired,
You're not
Mr.
treating
Deutsch.
everyone equally, Mr. Chairman. You went over by more than
Gentleman's
a minute.
time-
Mr. Johnson went over by 45 seconds.
Gentleman's
I just
time
want
has
unanimous
expired, Mr. Deutsch. What?
I just want a unanimous consent request.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You want a unanimous
Director
consent
Wray,
for what?
first of all-
To get a document into the record.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Just a UC is all.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I seek unanimous consent to enter into the record the receipt from the United States Department of Justice wherein Dr. Yang's phone was taken by FBI agent Dana Murphy.
Without objection, the gentleman's time has expired, Mr. Deutsch. Mr. Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director, why did you take their copy of the Constitution?
I'm sorry, take copy of whose
The couple in Alaska that turned out to be the wrong couple. You kicked in their door, you held them at gunpoint, handcuffed them, interrogated them for 4 hours. You took their phone, you took their laptop, and you took a copy of their pocket-sized Constitution. Why'd you take the Constitution?
Well, Congressman, as you know, I can't discuss a specific investigation. I'm not sure whether your characterization is accurate or not, but I can't provide specific information about a pending investigation.
It's been reported in the press. Our staff has actually talked to these individuals. That's what, they tells us exactly what happened. I'm just curious, I see what maybe you had the wrong couple, but if you take their phone, their laptop, I'm just curious why you take their Constitution.
Again, I can't comment on a specific investigation and what the
Have you
context
personally
of it
talked
was.
to the Hoopers?
Have I talked to whom?
Have you talked to this couple in Alaska? Again, the couple who had their door kicked in, damage to their door. The FBI has now repaired their door, held at gunpoint, handcuffed, and interrogated for 4 hours. Have you talked to him personally?
No, I have not.
If you find out it's really, I think it's obvious based on what we've discovered that this was the wrong couple, that these weren't people who did anything wrong. If you find out they are, will you call them?
I'd have to look at the circumstances of what happened, but it's an ongoing investigation. That's all I can really say on it at this time.
If it turns out you've sent their phone back to them, the laptop back to them, if it turns out that they are the wrong couple, as I think that is pretty obvious, what happens to the data on the phone that you have?
I'm sorry, can you explain a little bit more what you're asking?
You keep a record, like you returned the phone to them, but the data on the phone, do you have like copies of their text messages, emails, anything on their phone? Did you keep all that?
Well, when we return people's information, my impression is that we don't keep that information, but it depends on the circumstances of the investigation.
It's an innocent couple. Your impression is you're not going to keep information?
Well, again, I can't discuss a specific investigation. If you would like to get more information about how it works when we return, more generally, our policies and practices when we return information, I'm happy to see if we can provide that information to you separately.
Well, you would think if they're innocent, if they're not guilty, and you've got information on them, you would get rid of that information. The FBI wouldn't keep it.
And I'm not trying to.
But again, in light of what we've found out about FISA, maybe not.
I'm really not trying to quibble with you here. The only reason I'm providing what sounds like a confusing answer is because each case is different, depends on the circumstances as to how you got the information, what the circumstances were. We certainly have instances where we purge information that we have. I know that happens. We have other instances where we may be investigating something and the information is kept. But again, it depends on the circumstances as a whole network.
Do you know how this couple was identified? I mean, you look on your Twitter site, the posted tweet is a crowdsourcing. Can you help us find these individuals? You got pictures of individuals. This is relative to January 6th. Was this couple in Alaska found through the crowdsourcing, that technique?
I don't know the answer to that sitting here right now. And again, I want to be careful not to discuss a specific investigation. I will say that more generally, related to January 6th, part of the purpose of putting out information for the public is for the public to identify people, who know people to identify.
Are you doing that as well for the rioters, the people in the Antifa in Portland? You're doing that as well?
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
Good. Is it a habit of the FBI to take constitutions from people that you're interrogating?
I don't know if it's a habit to pursue any particular document.
I just found that-
We just seize the evidence that's relevant to what's in the affidavit search warrant affidavit that we presented to the judge who signed off on it.
Did you sign off on the raid on Mayor Giuliani's apartment?
Again, I'm not going to discuss any specific investigation. I don't normally sign off on specific operational activity as FBI director.
That's not what I asked. I asked, did you sign off on this specific FBI activity where the president's personal lawyer's apartment in Manhattan was raided?
And again, I'm not going to discuss any specific investigation.
Are you aware of any leaks by the FBI or the Department of Justice about an investigation of Postmaster General DeJoy?
I'm aware of news coverage about an investigation related to that individual, but I'm not aware of leaks
You haven't been
from
briefed
people
on
inside the
anything?
FBI.
You haven't been briefed on anything relative to the FBI or the Justice Department relating to that leak of an investigation of the Postmaster?
Gentleman's time has expired. The witness may answer the question.
I can't discuss a specific investigation. I am aware of the news coverage about the investigation you're referring to, and I'm just going to have to leave it at that here.
began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young, and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild.